I barely tasted the coffee, burnt, bitter, and still somehow the best thing in the building. I took a seat in the back row like always, half listening, half counting the ceiling tiles. Another Monday morning, all hands, same parade of updates, metrics, and corporate cheerleading. I'd been through over 400 of these in my 12 years. I wasn't expecting fireworks. Then Mara stepped up. She didn't smile, didn't say good morning, just slid into the mic with that clipped tone she used when she was about to screw someone over. Effective immediately, Todd Ryan will be leaving the company. We thank him for his years of service and wish him well. That was it. Cold, surgical, no lead up, no reason, no eye contact. She went right into the next slide like I was a bullet point to delete. I didn't flinch, I didn't ask questions, I didn't move. Across the room, I saw Aaron from the acquisition team lean back slowly and close his leather binder. No reaction on his face. That silence said more than any speech. I stood up, nodded once, and walked out without a word. The room stayed dead quiet. Quick note: before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. I didn't head to HR or the elevators. I took a hard left down the hallway and ducked into the back lounge behind the IT bullpen. The place was half storage closet, half break room, broken fridge, old beanbag, but no one ever came in here unless they wanted to talk for real. I sat down on the busted leather couch, leaned forward, and finally took a sip of that god-awful coffee. My heart wasn't racing, just humming. I wasn't mad, not yet. 5 minutes later, the door creaked open. Aaron stepped in, shut it behind him, and looked at me like I'd just dropped a live grenade in his office. She really fired you? No warning, no transition plan? Living in color, I said. Guess she wanted a moment. He shook his head. Does she even understand what you do? She thinks she does. He pulled up a chair across from me, still wearing that tailored calm. What exactly do you do, Todd? I mean the real version, not the legalese Mara spoon-fed the board. I looked him dead in the eye. You want the truth? Then I'll tell it straight. He nodded once. Let's talk. And I did. Aaron leaned forward, elbows on his knees. Start at the top. All right, I said, setting the coffee down. You know the core routing software we use for client ops? He nodded. I wrote it 10 years ago. It was supposed to be temporary, but it worked better than anything else, so it stuck. We've patched it 100 times, but the guts, still mine. No doc, no training modules, just me and my notes. He blinked, processing that. Okay. What about the analytics dashboard? Same deal. I built the first version. Maggie maintains it now, but the server configs are a mess. No auto restart, no redundancy. That box dies, we fly blind. He let out a low whistle. I also handle 6 of our top 10 clients personally. They email me, not sales. They don't even know Mara's name. You're joking? I wish. I leaned back. You know that big compliance audit last quarter? The one that saved us from breach classification? Yeah. Me and a Red Bull, 2 nights, no sleep. Aaron sat still for a second. Then, so she fired the guy who's basically duct taped the company together for a decade? Looks that way. He stood up, walked to the mini fridge, opened it, saw nothing, and shut it again. You realize none of this was in the due diligence packet. Of course it wasn't. Mara wants it to look clean, scalable. She can't admit the plumbing's still held together by a guy in a hoodie who doesn't use Slack. He turned back to me. You still have access? I raised an eyebrow. You think I trust it to clean up my handoffs? His jaw clenched just slightly. He wasn't angry at me. He was recalculating. I could see it. The whole acquisition pitch depended on automation and scale. But under the hood, it was one guy running a system like an underground engine room. Aaron paced once. If you walk, can anyone step in? No, and I won't walk. I'll watch. That's worse. He smiled at that, tight but real. Just then, the door creaked open. Mara stepped halfway in, eyebrows sharp. Gentlemen, everything all right? Aaron didn't even turn. Just getting context. She glanced at me, then back to Aaron. Let me know if you need clarification. I will. She stood there 1 second too long, then closed the door behind her. Aaron sat down again, lowering his voice. She has no clue what she just triggered. I shrugged. She thought I'd pack a box and disappear. He nodded slowly. But if we proceed without you, we inherit a ghost system, silent clients, and operational landmines. Pretty much. Jesus. He rubbed his face. This is a $400 million acquisition. We can't risk a surprise collapse 3 months post-close. I'm not here to play hardball, I said, but I'm not going to sit on a bench while someone tanks what I built. He stood again, this time slower. Let me talk to my team. Legal needs to hear this, quietly. Good idea. He turned at the door. You still want in? Depends on the terms. He nodded. You'll hear from us soon. I didn't move as the door clicked shut. Let Mara pace outside. I had time. 10 minutes after Aaron walked out, my phone buzzed. Mara, work. Let's set up time today for a clarifying conversation. Want to ensure alignment. I stared at the screen, then tossed the phone back on the couch without replying. 3 more messages came in by noon, each one softer, more HR. She didn't want to talk, she wanted cover. Meanwhile, the office started to hum, not the usual keyboard clatter. I mean, whispers. Slack threads slowed. Meeting invites started canceling, one after the other. Aaron called off his one day with Dan from Sales Ops. Skipped the 2:30 with product. And when I walked past the exec suite to refill my coffee, I saw 2 directors leave Mara's office red-faced and whispering in the hallway, like kids caught sneaking out. By 4, Jamie from Finance texted me. Jamie, you didn't hear this from me, but Mara's bonus is tied to the deal closing this quarter. It dies, she gets nothing. Me. She fire me thinking that would help the sale? Jamie, that's what people are saying. And there it was. She hadn't done it out of strategy, or logic, or even personal beef. She did it for optics, some idiotic stunt to show Aaron she could clean house, tighten ops, flex control. Instead, she took the one piece out of the machine that made the whole thing run quiet. I said nothing, replied to no one. Let it all breathe. By Friday, I saw 3 different Slack channels hinting at knowledge gaps and unusual system dependencies. Someone from DevOps even dropped a comment. Does anyone actually know how the routing engine works? No one replied. I walked past IT. Half the monitors had tabs open with old back-end wikis, pages I hadn't touched in years. I passed a conversation outside the data team pod. She didn't even give him a transition window. No, just cut him. Jesus. The air on the exec floor got tight. People started choosing who they ate lunch with, who they copied on emails, who they stopped copying. I stayed in that side lounge, didn't even pretend to pack. Let Mara wonder where I was or what I was doing. On Monday morning, I got a message from Aaron's office. Private call with his legal team, 4 p.m., invite only, not on the calendar. I stepped out and called Jamie. This thing goes sideways. What happens to Mara? She's toast, Jamie said. She was already on thin ice with the board. The bonus was her shot to stick the landing. Not looking so hot, huh? Nope. You hold position, this thing caves in on her. Copy that. At 3:59, I took the elevator down to the empty WeWork-style pod Aaron's team had claimed during transition planning. Knocked once. Aaron opened the door himself. Behind him, 2 legal guys in suits were already waiting. One of them pulled out a laptop and started recording. Aaron motioned to a seat. We're ready when you are. I sat down, locked eyes with the suits, and said, here's the full map. What works, what breaks, and what Mara never understood. And I gave it to them. Calm, clear, surgical. No spin, no fluff, just the truth. They took notes, asked questions, started sketching out dependency diagrams like they were mapping out a bomb. Mara thought she'd made a statement. She had, just not the one she wanted. 2 nights later, I walked into Delaney's downtown just before 7. I'd eaten there maybe twice in my life. Old Money Steakhouse, all dark leather and dim lights. Felt like a room where handshakes still mattered. Aaron stood when he saw me. His legal guys were already seated, jackets off, sleeves rolled. One of them had a folder in front of him, thick with printouts. Glad you made it, Aaron said. We've got a booth in the back. I followed them past the wine cellar wall and into a curved corner table. Menus whatever you want, Aaron added. This is more about closing loops. I didn't open the menu. Let's see what you brought. The shorter lawyer slid the folder across. Draft engagement terms, reviewed by both sides. If you agree, we execute this week. I flipped it open. Clean formatting, minimal fluff. Consulting role, 6-month contract, monthly compensation, $40,000. Status, independent contractor, no W-2. Severance, Additional 3-month payout at end of engagement. Paid by buyer. Non-compete. Non-solicit. None. Reporting structure. Autonomous. No direct manager. I kept reading. No loyalty clause. No language about being available outside designated handoff hours. Just operational delivery on my terms. Looks good, I said. But I want a few things crystal. Of course, said the taller one. We're listening. 1, no contact from Mara. Not through Slack, not through email, not even via someone else. Aaron nodded. Understood. 2, I control the knowledge transfer. Schedule, format, recipients. No one dictates how I package the handoff. Reasonable. 3, if anyone tries to bait me on Slack, I log it and walk. 0 tolerance. Aaron gave a short laugh. Smart. The shorter lawyer scribbled notes, then looked up. We can add an appendix clarifying boundaries. What you're asking is all enforceable. I nodded once, closed the folder. We good on IP? I asked. Anything you created prior to this deal remains yours, he said. The systems you're handing off become theirs, but they won't claim authorship. That was the part that mattered. I didn't care about keeping credit. I just didn't want them rewriting history. A waiter showed up. I ordered a ribeye, medium rare, and a black coffee. Aaron didn't push small talk. None of us did. When the waiter left, Aaron leaned in. You don't have to come back to the office at all. If you want to run the whole thing remote, we'll set it up. I'll come in for day 1. After that, I'm a ghost. He nodded. Fair. I slid the folder back to the middle of the table. I'll sleep on it, but this is close. Aaron didn't flinch. You've got until Friday. We're not rushing you. He meant it. They weren't in a position to. I looked around the table, then back at the contract. Consultant, not employee, no cubicle, no boss, no pretend. They weren't rehiring me. They were paying for the one clean exit left, and I'd make damn sure they paid well. 2 days later, I sat alone in a corner conference room with a second draft of the contract spread out in front of me. No windows, just frosted glass and silence. Aaron's legal rep, Tom, sat across the table, typing up a few clarifications we'd just gone over. I sipped my coffee, real coffee, brought in from the shop downstairs. No badge access required. Tom adjusted his laptop screen. We added the clause about Slack contact and expanded the IP language just to make sure no one tries anything later. Appreciate it, I said. Then the door slammed open. Mara, full steam, red blazer, jaw tight. No knock, no intro. She stalked in like she still ran the floor. Can someone explain to me why you're in here reviewing contract terms? She snapped, eyes locked on me. I didn't move. Because I was invited. She looked at Tom. By who? Tom didn't blink. By my office, at Aaron's request. Her face barely held it together. This is completely out of protocol. Todd is not an employee. He was terminated. I took another sip, slow. Exactly. I don't report to you. You don't speak for the company, she shot back. No, I said, but you don't speak for the buyer. She turned back to Tom. This makes no sense. There's a process. He can't just negotiate behind my back. Tom closed his laptop. Calm, professional, deadly. Actually, he can, and should. The damage caused by the terms of his dismissal is now material to the transaction. Mara froze. Just a blink, maybe half a second. But I saw it hit her. Tom kept going. Our position is simple. No deal moves forward until we resolve the operational continuity risks. Todd is central to that resolution. You're undermining the leadership structure, she snapped. There's a chain of command. Not anymore, I cut in. You broke that chain the moment you fired me in front of 60 people without prep or transition. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. Tom slid the laptop into his bag. There will be no further discussions routed through your office. You'll be looped in where appropriate, but strategic control is now on our side. She turned to me, voice low but venomous. So this is how you play it. I leaned back, calm. No games, just cleanup. She looked like she wanted to flip the table but couldn't find a grip. I let the silence sit. Tom stood. If there's nothing else, we'll continue. Mara didn't move, just stood there, blinking fast, hands clenched at her sides. I stood up, smoothed out the contract, and tucked it under my arm. Take care, Mara, I said, walking past her. She didn't respond, didn't need to. The silence did the job. They called the emergency board meeting for the next morning, 8 a.m. sharp. One of those invite-only sessions where even directors double-check the calendar before walking in. I was already seated when Mara arrived. She walked in stiff, nodded at no one, and slid into her seat at the far end of the table like nothing was wrong, like she wasn't about to watch her whole play collapse. Aaron came in 5 minutes later with his general counsel and the same legal rep from the steakhouse. "Thanks for joining," Aaron started, calm and cold. "Let's get straight to it. The acquisition will only proceed if Todd Ryan is retained under the consultant terms we submitted yesterday." Mara's head tilted. "I understand Todd's historical contributions, but I want to be clear. There is documentation in place. The systems don't revolve around one person." Aaron didn't blink. "We reviewed the documentation. It's a pile of outdated diagrams and half-finished wikis. Nothing that reflects current ops." One of the board members leaned forward. "What does that mean for integration?" Aaron's counsel cut in. "Without Todd's direct involvement, we're looking at an estimated 6 to 9 month delay just to rebuild system knowledge, and that's assuming nothing breaks in the meantime." Mara tried to keep her voice steady. "We've managed transitions before. This one just needs proper alignment." Aaron placed a document flat on the table. "Here's the clause we've added. It's already approved by our internal team." He let it hang for effect. "No Todd, no deal." The silence hit harder than yelling ever could. Mara didn't move. She sat there, lips tight, hands folded. But the color at her neck was creeping up. Red. Fast. The board chair finally spoke. "Is this tied to the original termination event?" Aaron nodded. "Yes. That move undermined operational trust and caused direct risk to continuity." Mara opened her mouth, but the chair held up a hand. "We'll take this under review. For now, proceed with whatever the buyer requires." Meeting adjourned, Mara didn't get up right away. When she did, she went straight back to her office. No hallway chat, no follow-up, just storm clouds. Within the hour, she started scrambling. Slack message. "Mara, we should revisit options. Willing to discuss reinstatement under adjusted terms." Email. Subject. Opportunity for reset. Content. "There's still time to get aligned. Let's fix this together." Then came the offer. New contract, higher salary, corner office, advisory title. I replied with one line. "Too late. You opened the door." An hour later, Aaron's legal team finalized everything. Signed, executed, done. A memo went out to internal leadership. Todd Ryan will be supporting the transition as a retained consultant effective immediately. No titles, no drama. But everyone knew what it meant. Another memo followed. Different tone. "Executive compensation packages are under current board review and subject to change pending deal finalization." That was corporate speak for Mara's bonus is dead. She tried to clean house. Thought I was dead weight. Turns out I was the structure under the floor. The wire hit my account at 8:02 a.m. Sharp, 120 grand, half up front. I didn't flinch, just refreshed the page once, saw the number, then closed the laptop. Outside the lake house window, the water was flat as glass. No traffic, no meetings. Just morning sun on cedar deck boards and steam rising off the mug in my hand. Real coffee this time. Dark roast, fresh ground, no burnt aftertaste or passive-aggressive break room energy. 12 years, paid in full. The acquisition closed by noon. I didn't need a party or a champagne toast. Just scanned the press release when it dropped. Generic boilerplate. Growth, synergy, integration. But right there in the third paragraph, the transition team was supported by a key advisor with deep operational knowledge. No name, but they knew. Everyone inside knew. Mara, gone, no announcement, no farewell email, just disappeared from Slack and stripped from the org chart like she'd never existed. Jamie texted me later that day. Word is, she cried in the bathroom stall after the board cut her bonus. I didn't reply, didn't feel smug, didn't feel anything. She pulled the trigger, thinking she'd write me out. Instead, she deleted herself. The first transition meeting was scheduled for Friday. Zoom, of course. No office, no in-person theater, just boxes on a screen. I joined 2 minutes late, no camera, no greeting. Aaron kicked it off. A few directors introduced themselves. Everyone sounded tight but polite. Business voices, no fluff. Mara wasn't there, never even came up. Midway through, someone on the tech team shared a planning doc for infrastructure mapping. In the corner of the page, in smaller print than usual, was a line that made me pause. Original design attributed to Todd Ryan, longtime architect of operations. It was a small thing, one sentence, no bold font, no signature. But it was mine. When the meeting wrapped, I clicked leave without saying a word. I stood, stretched, and stepped out onto the deck. No buzz in my pocket, no fire to put out, just silence. The air smelled like pine and late summer. The lake barely moved. I took a long sip of coffee. It tasted like closure.